Is there anyone here who's felt alone recently? You really feel alone? 'Cause I have. Alone in fear? I'm sorry. Maybe I'll have to pick this up. Has anyone here felt alone? Okay. There you go. Alone in your fear, or your hopelessness, or your depression? What about your anger? Yeah. Take a moment and look around. You are absolutely not alone. Everyone around you is coming together to be a part of something bigger than all of us, and we're doing that peacefully. 500,000. That is the minimum number of people who are attending these rallies by your side today. 1,300 is the minimum number of rallies that are taking place today across almost every single state in America. For many of you here, I stand proudly as your mayor, but also as a fellow American who, like so many of you, is feeling the weight of these times. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. There's even more division. A lot of questions about who we are as a country and where are we headed. I think it's the division within our families and our communities that really breaks my heart. The more we move as a nation towards extremism, the more divided and scared we become. Extremism alienates the most people, and it serves the least. At the core of all this division, anger, sometimes hate, is fear. People are genuinely scared, and I can tell you I am genuinely scared with you. So whether your fear is based on your ability to feed your family, to retire, to keep your home, to have access to health care, or just to feel safe and be yourself, that fear is real. It's okay to acknowledge those feelings and say them out loud, but it's hard. We want something better, not just for ourselves, but for our children, our family, our friends, and our future. I've always believed in building bridges, not building walls, in lifting people up, not tearing people down. And I know many of you feel the same way. That's why we're here together, to stand together in our shared values of compassion, fairness, and hope, and to not let fear win. I also want to acknowledge there are people in our community, friends, colleagues, family, who see the world differently than we do, who may not agree with everything that's going to be said today. And that's okay, because if you believe in this country, you still believe in freedom. And that includes your freedom to be different in any way. At the end of the day, most of us want the same basic things. You want a safe neighborhood, good schools, opportunities to thrive, honest leadership, and the chance to live with dignity and respect. That's not partisan. That's just human. So I'm not here today to add to the noise or to deepen the divide. I'm here to say that we all deserve leaders who listen, leaders who tell the truth, leaders who bring people together instead of driving them apart. And we all need to believe that there is hope, that things will get better. And when we see things happening in this community that don't reflect our values, don't reflect what we teach our children, that make people feel unseen, unheard, unsafe, we have a responsibility to speak up, but to do it in a way that invites conversation, not conflict. I want everyone here to know that I see you and I believe in you. It's time for us to listen and have those difficult conversations. Sorry. Real change will not come from shouting over each other. It comes from mutual respect, listening, and finding common ground, even when it's hard. And right now, it's really hard. But I am not ready to give up on us. So today I want to affirm what I believe. That kindness, civility, and respect matter. That our democracy is worth protecting and fighting for. That leadership should be about service, not ego. and that we're strongest when we walk towards the future together. Anyone here who knew me years ago, you know I never planned to go into politics. I ran because I truly believe that we are best when we come together as an entire community beyond any party. So, for my neighbors who are here from the village of Mamaroneck, I am so proud of you. I am so proud of this community that as we continue to find our way forward together despite our differences. We are an example of what doing the hard work looks like and our ability to move forward. To my fellow Democrats, the work is only beginning, and this fight is going to be a huge challenge. Thank you for committing yourself to the work,
continuing to show up, and to organize to fight for what really matters. And to my Republican neighbors, we do not always agree, but I see you too. I look forward to continuing to find ways to work together for the good of our village and the good of the community. We do have common ground, and we need to build on that. And to all of my other neighbors, you matter too. You deserve respect, and you deserve to be protected. There is a long road ahead, but by leaning on each other, I truly believe we can do this, and we can change the course of history. So together, we will move through this moment and be stronger, wiser, and more united than ever.
The Town of Mamaroneck Supervisor, Jane Elkin-Eny.
As town supervisor, it fills my heart with so much pride to see so many of our members of our community here, ready to make a stand for what is right, for what is just, and what is for our best interest for the future. Let this rally be a reminder that this community is built on respect and love and equality, and that is not negotiable. It's not negotiable. Today, we're sending a powerful message. Hands off. Let me hear it. Hands off. Hands off our bodies. Hands off our bodies. Hands off Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and SNAP. Hands off. Medicare, Social Security, and SNAP. Hands off our immigrant population. Hands off. Hands off our LGBTQ plus population. Hands off. LGBTQ plus population. Hands off our libraries, our schools, and our universities. Hands off libraries, schools, and our universities. Hands off our environmental protection. Hands off our environmental protection. Hands off free speech and the press. Hands off free speech and the press. Hands off our elections. Hands off our elections. Hands off our Constitution. Hands off our Constitution. And hands off this community. Hands off this community. Let this rally be a reminder that when we stand together, we are unstoppable. And we will not rest. We will not rest until justice is served, the rights of all people are protected, and until we can ensure a brighter, better future for all the residents of our great community.
Our next speaker now is Catherine Parker, our county legislator, 12 years county legislator, Catherine Parker.
Wow, it is so good to see so many of you. By the way, I just came from the march in New York City. There were easily 500,000 people in New York City alone. And I think our numbers are big. In my district, we have about 60,000 people, and I think a good portion of you are right here today. So is this worse than what we had ever imagined? Yes, absolutely. I think what we've seen is that in the first 75 days, this country has been taken over by the most compromised and transactional sociopaths we have ever seen in government. Each day of this administration, norms are shattered. Instead of choosing honorable people who will be loyal to the Constitution, the people selected to do the people's business are loyal to Trump and loyal to themselves. It is not about the people at all. Bro is right. And what we have seen, the Departments of Education and the Interior and Department of the HHS, we have seen that they are gutting it, and these guts are intended to hurt average Americans. And we know right here in Westchester County, we're losing a Social Security office in White Plains that serves people from 9 counties. Is that right? No! Boo is right. And our county executive, Ken Jenkins, and our Congressman, George Latimer, they even proposed a new site for a new Social Security office. We want to make things work, but they don't want things to work, do they? No. They just want to inflict pain on us. Chaos! Chaos is right. And now, next news on FEMA and NOAA and the Army Corps of Engineers is still to come. Yes. And we know on top of that, it was just announced by NOAA last week, we're going to have a very active hurricane season. And in the Sound Shore, we know what that means. The federal government is not going to be here for us. But there is good news. Your local government will be here. We are going to be doing everything in our power for our folks here in the Sound Shore. Everything that the Trump administration does is designed to hurt. And like every bully, he wants to hurt those that are most vulnerable. So we stand here today, not for ourselves, but for those who will be affected. We are here because we feel the fear and the pain that Mayor Torres talked about, and we know for our immediate families and our friends and our neighbors, but we feel the plight of all who are caught in policies designed to inflict pain. We stand here and we are getting counted. So kudos to you for coming out. This is so important that you are here. It is so important. This is really funny. My paper's sticking to itself. So one thing I want to set the record straight is your elected officials here are empathetic people, and Elon Musk got it totally wrong. Empathy is not the fundamental weakness of Western civilization. It's our superpower. We feel a sense of responsibility to help when a bully picks on another person, and that's displaying the best of humanity. On a larger scale, what the hell did they think America getting into World War II was, if not empathy on a global scale? Elon and Doge are missing an intrinsically important part of what truly makes America great, right? And you know what else we feel? We fear anger. And, how dare they hurt our residents? Those people that are working hard just trying to make their way to citizenship and the American dream, how dare they hurt those people? How dare they hurt our senior citizens who paid into the Social Security system? How dare they destroy our national parks in the name of oil and rare mineral mining? And as my husband says, he would tell Donald Trump, do not cross my wife because she will double her effort in every single way to stand up for what is right. And I'm not alone in my fierce determination to step in and help. You have a great group of elected officials, and they are all equally committed. They are here for you. So you're going to hear from a great group of people. And lastly, know the greatest power to fight and undo the damage is within each of you. You came here today. You're not wringing your hands. You have power. And you're speaking truth to power just by your sheer presence in a sea of people that we have here. So keep speaking. Keep voting, keep spreading the truth. We're going to grow our empathetic army and take our country back.
Next up is another county legislator. He represents New Rochelle and part of Eastchester, I believe, right? Ladies and gentlemen, Judah Holstein.
What we're seeing, what Trump is doing, isn't politics. It's personal power grabs. It's cruelty paraded as strength. And it's leaving a lot of us feeling helpless and hopeless. We feel it in our gut. We hear it in our homes. We see it every day, this creeping sense that our country is being pulled into its darkest chapter yet. We see the signs, attacks on the press, the targeting of entire communities, the obsession with power over people. It's not just politics, it's the normalization of abuse. It's not leadership, it's creeping fascism. He's doing all these terrible things, and it's not even helping anyone. That's why we're here to say, hands off. Hands off. And let me be clear, hands off. 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 And let me be clear, this isn't even about left and right. It's about right and wrong. We don't have to agree on every issue to know this isn't how democracy is supposed to work. Just last night, we watched it all play out in real time. During a late night Senate vote-a-rama, Senate Republicans forced through a MAGA budget framework, $7 trillion in irresponsible tax cuts designed to serve the wealthiest few, paired with deep spending cuts that gut schools, healthcare, public service, all wrapped in border politics and cruelty. Corruption. Democrats tried to fight back amendment after amendment, but they were steamrolled. If anyone still thinks we can rely on institutions alone, that moment was your wake-up call. The urgency isn't coming, it is right here. And let's be clear, he's not just cruel, he's reckless. The tariffs he's pushing, built on lies and theater, hurt the very people he claims to fight for. Prices go up, businesses suffer, and families, working families, pay the price. It doesn't lower your bills, it doesn't fix your schools, and it doesn't make you safer. Because it's not about service, it's not about control, it's about solution, it's not about solutions, it's about settling scores. We've watched government turn into a weapon for personal vendettas, opponents smeared, truth tellers punished, communities and legal entities silenced. It's not governance, it's revenge politics. He's not here to solve problems, he's here to get even. He doesn't want a free hand to lead, he wants a clenched fist to punish. And we're not giving him a free hand. We might give him a finger. But this fight isn't just about stopping him, it's about building something stronger. You know what gives me hope? What gives me hope is Elon Musk poured over $20 million into the Wisconsin Supreme Court race and still lost by 10 points. Not because someone outspent him, but because people outworked him. Friends talked to friends. Neighbors brought neighbors. Voters showed up like all of us here today. That's how we win. Not with billionaires, but with each other. So don't wait. Find a race. Talk to your friends. Bring someone in off the sidelines. Local, national, it all matters. And yes, we need to spread truth loudly, patiently, relentlessly. The lies are loud and well-funded, but the truth still wins when we fight for it. It won't be easy, it won't be quick, but we can take it all back. One conversation, one neighbor, one vote at a time. I, along with my colleagues in local, state, county, and federal government, some of whom are here with us today, we're working to protect you. We're fighting government overreach. We're protecting civil rights. We're defending your privacy. We're passing laws based on truth, not fear. But the movement is bigger than just our electeds. It's going to take every one of us, every voice, every district, every county, even Bergen, every state. We don't need to match their hate. We just need to outwork it, outvote it, and outlast it. If we stay grounded, we stay focused, and stay together, we will win.
I opened up the paper this morning, and there's a story in the paper that New York State told the federal government that they're not going to tell us that we can't teach DEI. So New York State is not obeying, the dictates, the illegal dictates. And I know there's two people here that are going to fight that fight for you every day. And one is my old friend Steve Otis, our state assembly.
For science, technology, and public health, the elimination of funding to countless programs and grants will cost lives. From cancer, HIV, tuberculosis, Alzheimer's, SARS, mental health, influenza, vaccine, NIH, CDC, National Science Foundation, NOAA, EPA, NASA, even FEMA, the list goes on. None of this was a surprise to us. None of this was a surprise to us, but many Americans did not believe our warnings. The goal of the Trump extremists is to take us back to the 30s, not the 1930s, the 1830s. To bring us back to a time when we were a less caring society, when we did not have the model of the New Deal to serve and protect us, to provide economic security. If all of this were not enough, we face the very real question of whether democracy and individual freedom will survive. You know you live in a dictatorship when the wealthiest and most powerful business leaders, corporations, media companies, newspapers, universities, and law firms surrender. Pledge obedience. You got it. Surrender, pledge obedience, and pay the Trump administration out of fear of being crushed. There is no time in our history when the most powerful institutions in our country were bludgeoned into submission, forced to remain silent, and required to give in. Submit or be crushed. That is the choice many have made. But we are here today and all across the country to proclaim we do not live in a dictatorship, we live in a democracy. This is the land of democracy. For the Trumpists who want to live in a dictatorship, there are plenty of options around the world. As Franklin Roosevelt once said, let them try their lot under some foreign flag in which they have more confidence. We are here to fight for equality, justice, democracy, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness. We root for the success of all Americans and the individual freedom for which our country stands. We are here to say we will fight, we will unite with all Americans who believe in the values of our country, and we will win.
Our next speaker is a person who has represented this community for a few years, and she jumped right in, and she became part of Mamaroneck and part of the whole South Shore. State Senator Shelley Mayer.
Hey, what's a little rain? That does not gonna stop us. We're here to take our country back. We're here to win this fight. And that's why so many of you are out here. Who cares if the paper's wet, the glass is wet, the hair is wet? We got our damn country to fight for. And hands off. The message is hands off. Hands off the things that make our democracy great. Not just Social Security. How dare they try to attack something that's the essence of our social insurance, not personal insurance. I'm paying Social Security for someone in Kansas who's a Republican, who's 90 years old, who's depending on it to live. I'm paying Social Security for someone who's disabled in Alabama who needs Social Security. This is a promise of America, and they can't mess with it.
something. This is not just about elected officials. Have no fear of that. This is about all of us. We have the responsibility collectively to be the messengers. They're trying to create confusion, upset, tears, sadness, all that. We have a job to do. Every day we got to make sure this message is heard. Call those Republicans from New York who represent us in Congress and leave a message. Make a video showing that you were here today. Do something tomorrow and speak to your neighbor. Yes, we as electeds will do our best, but we are all in this together, and we have a job to do together to make them realize they can't scare us. We are not afraid of them. They can try all the policies they want. They can try to cut Medicaid. Good luck in New York. They can try to cut education. Thank you to the New York State Education Department to tell them, screw you, you can't do it here. You can threaten the lawyers and the judges and the immigrants and anyone who disagrees, but we are not afraid. We are united in patriotism and principle. We believe in America. We're not turning our back on our neighbors. We're not turning our back on our strangers. This is our country. We're here to take it back. Let's every day make a commitment to do something to show them we're not afraid. They won't win. We will win. It's our democracy. Let's claim it back.
Our next speaker is a gentleman who has been advocating for our values and for Westchester County for decades. I first saw Ken Jenkins on News 12 years ago, standing up for what was right and arguing respectfully with his Republican counterpart and always coming out on top. And now he's become our county executive. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ken Jenkins.
All right, Westchester! Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! You know, we are going to keep standing, and we're going to keep standing. We're going to stand with each other. We're going to stand in the rain. It doesn't matter where we stand, because we want hands up! Hands up! We know we got to stand next to our neighbors, no matter whatever they look like, right? We're going to keep their hands off of our neighbors. We're going to keep hands off of Social Security. We're going to make sure that we continue to stand up and be strong and loud and proud every day for everybody, because we can't let that happen here. There's no way that we should be having this happen right now. We know we have to stand up and fight back every day. We can't let anything, any light, anything else happen with us. When we look around, we say, who are we going to stand with? Are we going to stand with Ukraine? Yeah. Are we standing with our friends in Ukraine? Yeah. Are we standing with our friends in Israel? Yeah. Are we standing with our friends everywhere around the world? Yeah. But we need to make sure our neighbors understand we're standing together. We're going to make sure the people have the power. Because the people have the power. 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 Hands off. Hands off of Social Security. Hands off of our democracy. We know what happens when we fight. When we fight, let's keep fighting, everyone.
Our next speaker is kind of new to the job. Okay? So give him a little leeway. He's been working at it. He's getting accustomed. You know, some of you might remember his face from around Westchester County. Ladies and gentlemen, our Congressman, Mr. George Latta.
Hands off! Hands off! Hands off! I already got the yelling part out of the way. Every Monday morning at 7:26, I'm at the New Rochelle Railroad Station, and I'm waiting on the 7:26 Amtrak train, which usually gets there about 7:50 or 8:05. And I have time on that train to Washington, the only one of us in this whole crowd that goes to Washington, to think about what is it that we're doing to this country. So many years ago, this area, Larchmont, Mamaroneck, and Rye, sent me to do the job
that Catherine Parker is doing today as a county legislator. I was sent to go to Albany to do the job that Steve Otis does now, and then subsequently Shelley Mayer. And when I went to Albany, like Shelley and Steve, I voted for marriage equality. I voted to raise the minimum wage. I voted for the safe DAC and gun control. I was sent to be your county executive for 7 years. Ken Jenkins, the best deputy county executive that ever existed, now you're county executive. We made the buses electric so they don't have fuel and rely on fossil fuel. We fixed Memorial Field, and we fixed Spray Ridge pools in the heart of urban areas for people to recreate in. We did issue after issue after issue after issue. Now we get on that train, and I think about what am I going to vote no on this week? I'm going to vote no on the SAVE Act, which is voter suppression. Take away your right from mail ballot. Tell a woman that you've got to prove you're an American citizen because you got married and changed your name. That's what the Vote Act is, and that's why I'm voting no on that. I voted no on a bill called Fix Our Forests. Sounds good, doesn't it? Opposed by the Sierra Club, opposed by the League of Conservation Voters, opposed by the Audubon Club. The bill should have been better called Fix Our Wagons, because it left a loophole in national parks for logging interests to get their hands on wood, which is what that was about. And I voted no on a bill called Laken Riley, which went after immigrants, and it took a tragedy of a woman who was murdered and pretended that that bill added additional sanctions to someone who commits a murder, when in fact what they were doing is coming up with broader categories to be able to deport more people who hadn't committed a violent crime. That's why I voted no. Now, Jackie is here with a poster that I saw. I happen to be standing next to Jackie. Where are you, my friend? Jackie, come out. Just do a Vanna White once around the crowd with that, would you? Thank you, Jackie. On that list is all of the lousy things that Donald Trump has been advancing and has been spoken to eloquently by all my predecessors. You are out in the rain listening to a politician. What kind of crazy are you? But every single area of public policy is under attack. If you worry about the Peace Corps, if you worry about FEMA, if you worry about the Department of Education, if you worry about USAID, that and more is what's under attack. And it's under attack by a group of people who have been waiting and plotting to do this. And they're not going to be stopped by angry rhetoric. They're going to be stopped when we vote them out of office. In the meantime, we have them in court, over 150 lawsuits. We go to federal judges at the trial level, and they'll get to the appellate levels. We pick the judges carefully, and we've made progress in forcing them to retract some of the things that they've done. Some of the things we can't retract, such as pardoning 1,600 violent protesters that want an insurrection in the United States. We can't change that. But I will tell you this. People ask me all the time, what can I do, what can I do, what can I do? I'm going to tell you what you can do right now, and I want you to promise me you're going to do this. And it's hard. It's hard. I want you to sit down tonight when you go home, and I want you to identify 5 people you know. And what's going to make it hard is that I'm not asking you to pick 5 closest friends who agree with you philosophically. Somebody you work with, that's always difficult. Somebody you go to a religious institution with, that's difficult. Somebody who's your in-law, that's really difficult. But you gotta find, every one of us has gotta find 5 people, just like I have to find 5 Republican congressmen. That's my job. That's my job. 5 people. And you're not gonna convince them in a one-off setting. You're not gonna meet them, have coffee with them, and tell them why they're wrong, and they're gonna agree. It's not gonna work that way. You're gonna have to use your friendship to open a door so they can consider something. And then it's our job, all of the public officials that you see here today, to provide you information that you can share in bits and pieces. Not all at once, and not at the most highest rhetoric. Because if they voted for Trump or a Republican congressman, they have a certain leaning. But you gotta show them that these tariffs are insanity. And there is no way, if they're moderate, that they could possibly support what's happening with tariffs. This is a backdoor way for him to finance his tax cuts. That's what this is about. There's no way that a Republican who liked Ronald Reagan, when Ronald Reagan said that Russia was the evil empire, and George H.W. Bush said that Russia was part of the axis of evil, that they could now supporting Russia at the UN against Ukraine. And you have to use your relationship with these 5 people to move them a little bit at a time. Because the next time they go to vote, we have got to win back the House of Representatives. We have got to win back the United States Senate. If we don't do that, it's going to be far worse than you can imagine. I hear some of these people talk, and what they said, what Steve Otis said in humor about 1830, they hate what the New Deal did in the 1930s. They hate it, and the Great Society on top of that. They want a society with the nobility and the peasantry. Guess where we are? My father... Is this off? I turned it off. I turned it off. My father was a maintenance man. Became head of maintenance right down this harbor at Beach Point Club at the end of Rushmore Avenue. My father spent 30 years as a maintenance man. He bought the smallest house on the south side of Mount Vernon, and that's where I grew up with my sister. My mother worked in a factory, and she did piecemeal work, but she was a union member. And through that union membership, we had certain benefits. I went to the public school system of Mount Vernon, New York. Now, when someone says, well, you're a congressman, you weren't there with me going to Mount Vernon schools. You weren't there with me in the heart of the South Side where nobody had any money, and almost all my friends were African Americans. Everybody up and down the neighborhood. I know inside of me what Stan Latimer had to do. And when you take Social Security away from all of the Stan Latimers that are still alive, you're making all of his sacrifice mean nothing. Mean nothing. How dare they? How dare Elon Musk? How dare he come into this country and tell us that our compassion is foolishness and our Social Security system is a Ponzi scheme. He's built $1 billion wealth on a Ponzi scheme. So I'm going to be on that Amtrak train this Monday, and you're going to be doing something else somewhere. I don't know where you work. I'm sure it's difficult in whatever it is. If you're retired, God bless you. I hope to get there soon, voluntarily, not involuntarily. But I need you to find 5 people. And you need me to go down to that chamber to speak on the floor as I have, to be able to try to convince a couple of my Republican people saying, hey, Brian, you know this man's insane. I know you're afraid of the primary, but God help us, we all have to stand up. This man will destroy America, and he'll destroy you in the process. This is the challenge we have. So we rally, but we also have work to do. You convince 5 people, I'll find 5 congressmen, and let me tell you this, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. We are gonna win. I know I'm taking a little time, I'm almost done. I was relocated from this area, the company I worked for 45 years ago, to, you may know the area outside of Philadelphia, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. It's right next to an area called Valley Forge. And I would go to tour Valley Forge with all my friends who came down to see me where I live. And we'd look at those little huts that those Revolutionary War fighters stayed in during the winter of that year, 76 into 77. How George Washington ever whipped them into shape to beat the British Army is inconceivable. And I'm sure George Washington, looking at those guys in those huts, had doubts about whether he could pull this off or not. Abraham Lincoln sat in the very White House. There's a memorial to him, and I see it when I look out of the window of any of these conference buildings in the House. And when he got reports, we lost in Manassas, and we lost in the Battle of the Seven Woods and Chancellorsville, he must have wondered, could he hold this union together? And Franklin Roosevelt had to wonder when he saw that Hitler and his boys were goose-stepping under the L'Arc de Triomphe in Paris. Paris had fallen. Britain was being bombed. He had to wonder, could we win? In every case, we won. In every case, we won because we had discipline, we had perseverance, we understood what had to be done, and we did what had to be done. We saved democracy. It's our generation's responsibility to do it again, and we will.
You know, there's a book that I've read many times, and there's a line in it. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We're at the turning point. Don't take half measures. Go all the way. We have to fight like our lives are depend upon it, like our grandchildren's lives depend upon it, because they do. Look at your a lot of us here have grandchildren. I'm guessing by looking around. And I have grandchildren too. Look at them and ask them, for Christ's sake, is this the world you want to give them? No! How could it be? How could this be right? So there's a lot of fight left in you people left. I'm going to ask Laura Mazziata to come back up and lead us in a few more chants before we say goodnight. But I appreciate you all coming here. God bless you.
Thanks, everybody. I want to remind you that we're here every Saturday at 4 p.m. Saturday, right near the parking lot, so it's easier to get to. Also, there's one in Larchmont by the CVS at 12 noon on Sundays. So Saturday at 4, 12 noon on Sundays, in it for the long haul. Again, I would just like to say, we haven't mentioned it at all, but I feel it deserves mentioning because it's a big, giant pink elephant in the room. There is a genocide happening as well, in addition to all that we are going through. And it needs to be said because until we face that fact, we will not heal as a country. Our money, our politicians are being purchased by AIPAC, AIPAC, look it up. It's the Israeli lobby, sadly. We need to know where our money goes and that our politicians are not being purchased. So that is, sorry, it needs to be said. The truth is not fun to hear, but we cannot be killing people at the rate we are with our tax dollars. Our tax dollars deserve to know what's going on. All right, so a little bit more. Response is stand up, fight back. And again, it's democracy in action. I know people may not appreciate what I said, but I'm a teacher, and I have to say, I care about children. And I teach my children, you know what I teach them? I teach them, there's one of them. I teach them that every single one is important, and that there is a tipping point, right, at which we all have to do something good because it tips the good against the side of evil, and that each voice matters. And we have to know that if we do the wrong thing in one place, it comes back to us. And right now, it's coming back to us. And we just can't allow that to continue, right? Because love trumps evil. I don't know that I like that word in there, but anyway. All right, so thank you for coming, students and people, and in the rain. I appreciate it so much. So here we go. The response is stand up, fight back. When our country is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When our democracy is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When refugees are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When immigrants are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When our Social Security is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When our Medicare is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When our Democratic allies are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When our transgender citizens are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When public health is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When our federal workers are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When our rule of law is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When the earth we love is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Thank you, everybody.